Hi and happy Thursday. I'm Pastor Jason Schmidt from Shepherd of the Hills, and I'm happy to share another Thursday devotion with you. It's almost Thanksgiving, and that's a good thing for a lot of different reasons. I think we are all ready to pause, take a time out, say thank you to Jesus, take an inventory of all the really good things that have happened over the last year, and there have been some really good things that have happened. I'm looking forward to worship. I'm looking forward to pumpkin pie and green bean casserole or green bean bake, depending on where you come from. I'm looking forward to listening to Christmas carols because, yes, I am of the mindset that let's hold off until after Thanksgiving, because if you play a Christmas carol before Thanksgiving, an evil elf is going to kill a baby reindeer. That is not true, but I still think we can hold off until after Thanksgiving. So after Thanksgiving, then we get Christmas carols, and then we get right into Christmas. Well, sandwiched right in between Thanksgiving and Christmas is Advent, the time that we prepare our hearts, yes, to celebrate Jesus' birth, but also to get ready for His coming back, which will be a great day when He takes us to be with Him forever in heaven. And it's traditional to do Advent calendars, to do Advent devotions, and Martin Luther College, the college that trains and prepares our pastors and teachers, staff ministers, early childhood educators. For the last few years, they have been putting out an Advent devotional booklet for us to use. And here is the one for this year, and it's based on the concept of a Jesse tree. And I've never heard of a Jesse tree before, but basically you can put up a tree or maybe run some garland up a stairwell or maybe put some garland over your fireplace, or you could just do this right on your wall. But every day during Advent you can cut out, you can print, or you can color your own ornament and put it on your Jesse tree. And that will help you get ready for Christmas, help you remember all of God's blessings, especially the promise that Jesus is coming back. And so this year we have these available for you here at church, and again, an ornament for every one of them. It's based on the idea of a shoot, a tree coming up from the stump of Jesse. And that's not uncommon to see, where if you cut down a tree, if you don't get the roots, it's going to start growing back. And I saw that in California, and I have a picture of that, and here it is. It's a stump, and it looks like a rock, and there's a tree growing out of it. By the time I took this picture, it was a 10-foot tall redwood tree that grew out of a stump, right out of the side. It was fascinating to watch it grow. And I was talking about that idea at a council meeting, and when I introduced this Advent series, and one of the guys said, "Hey, Pastor, that's true of redwood trees, but is that true of cactus too?" And I thought, I don't know if things can grow up out of the stump of cactus. Well, then I thought about it, and I have an example right here that yes, this does happen even with different cacti. I got this cactus with some money that my parents gave me for my birthday, so I thought, I'm going to buy a cactus. And I have looked up the proper Latin term, the binomial nomenclature of this particular cactus. Can't remember what it is, but I call it an anemone cactus because I think it looks like a sea anemone, like almost it's flowing through the air, and I think that's ironic in the desert. I had this for a day at my house, and something, I don't know if it was my kids, I don't think so. Neighborhood kids, I don't think so. Maybe some vegan coyotes, probably not. I think it was some javelina came by and decided to take a big chunk out of my brand new cactus. And the neat thing about it is you can't even tell where this chomp was taken out. It was right in this area. And if you look closely, you can see there it's scarred over a little bit. And I think it was a javelina, very messy eater, because they left some chunks of cactus on the bottom of the pot too. This all grew back in, and I think it grew in even a little more full than when I bought it. And if you look down in the dirt, there's a brand new cactus growing. So thank you, javelina. I now have 2 cactus. And I'm going to test that theory because bringing the cactus over to church, I broke off this part of the cactus, so I'll see if it scars over, and maybe I will even get a 3-for-1 out of this cactus. The point is, disaster, life-threatening disaster? No, but something chomped my brand new cactus, but it grew back even better. This, I think, will grow into my 3rd cactus. But that's how it was for God's people, wasn't it? Who is Jesse? Well, that was David's father. And from Jesse's line, Jesus was supposed to be born. But it didn't take very long, and the Assyrians knocked off the northern part of God's people. The Babylonians took care of the southern part of God's people. They even killed the king. There was a stump left over of God's people. It looked hopeless. It looked like a disaster. It looked like God was going to lose and not keep his promise to send Jesus. How amazing that Jesus was born from Jesse's line, from the stump of Jesse, when all looked hopeless, when it looked like a chaotic disaster. Jesus was in fact born. And that's what we're getting ready to celebrate again at Christmas time. Here is that promise from Isaiah chapter 1. A shoot will come up from the stump of Jesse. From his roots, a branch will bear fruit. God is working, isn't he? Even when it looks hopeless, chaotic, looks like a disaster, God kept his promise to send you and me Jesus. After Thanksgiving, that's what we're going to get ready to celebrate. And I think Christmas is going to be great this year because, again, we will get to look back on 2020, which some of you might consider a chaotic disaster, maybe a complete loss, a hopeless stump of a year. God is doing great things, even in 2020. And the more we look to him and the more we look back, gain some perspective, I think we're going to see that. Not just because I want it to be true or I hope it's going to be true, but because God promises. Here's a very familiar verse from Romans chapter 8, verse 28. And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose. What good came out of the stump of Jesse? Well, Jesus came out of the family line of Jesse, just like God promised. What good things are going to come out of 2020? I don't know. We're all washing our hands a little bit more. I think that's a good thing. We have new technology at church, these devotions. More people are hearing about Jesus. I think that's a good thing. So let's get ready to celebrate Christmas. Let's get ready to thank God for 2020 and the blessings of 2020, remembering that he is keeping his promise. Jesus came from the stump, the root of Jesse, just as he promised. He will work all things for our eternal good too, just as he promises. May that good news of Jesus give you a pick-me-up for today and a pick-me-up as we wrap up 2020 and get ready to celebrate Christmas as well. The peace of the Lord be with you always. Amen.